Shalom, family. Glory be to God and blessed be the Lamb. As always, good morning. America is a strange place. It's tribalistic, very tribalistic. I didn't realize this until recently, the last 4 or 5 years. The immigration debate has opened the womb. It's pulled back the scab. It's very tribalistic. It's been brought home to me quite clear that America is a country of immigrants. And it shows. No one here, and including white people, really assimilates into anything. They all cling to their cultures, to their points of view, to their perspectives and cultural upbringings and directives, like code, like so much code. And then we all, by we I mean you, pretend that this is not true. It's very true. It's very true. It's the strange dichotomies are obscene. I mean, the parallels, the possibilities and scenarios, and what's already happened due to this. Everybody is an immigrant. I laugh because it just dawned on me. Even when it comes to reparations, we have been talking about this since the 50s and 60s. And we can't get past the study. We can't even get a honest study because in this country of immigrants, everyone pretty much votes against it. Even when I look at the black population, if there is such a thing, the devil didn't tell a argument between what black is. I say black is an experience. If you haven't had the past experience here or the history of being slaves, then I'm not talking about you when I use the word black. However, I digress completely. But anyway, in this country of immigrants, it's very tribalistic, even when it comes to reparations. Something that's been around talking about the Negro and what's been euphemistically become known as foundation of Black Americans. It's now become, is it exchangeable with old or because I don't understand. We had the president of Ghana come to the United States and declare that slavery was a crime against humanity. Of course it was. Of course it was. The blood of those tossed over the ship had the temerity to jump and drown in the middle of the seas. Well, their blood runs up through my veins as I speak. As I speak. And to sit back and watch it, anyway, I don't want to start drifting. The Ghanaian president had came over and he spoke those words. Those words go without saying. But what happened next was weird. It was a call for reparations. And I'm like, okay, tell me more. Reparations for Ghana, Ghanaians, Ghana as a people, Ghana as a government. And I'm sitting there scratching my head. Is everybody, are we on the same page? Sir, you do realize that the very shores that your country stands on are the very shores that we were sold from, rounded up by some people who look just like you, and sold to people who did not look like you. It's not as if they were jumping off the boats and rushing into the interior of Africa and just with huge nets, snatching people up. That happened in the beginning, but however, as the slave catching process evolved, and exchangeables and tradables and things that you had never heard of took on a value to you, then you became a part of it. Yet you stand there and you say reparations for Africa, Africans, Ghanaians. Let's be specific. I doubt that he was speaking for the whole of Africa. I'm quite sure he was not, as a matter of fact, just by the geopolitical stances in which he holds in Africa. He speaks for Ghanaians. However, the obvious, once again, is evidently unseen by him. Unseen. And what did the United States do? The United States did not argue, rather that excuse me, the United States did not argue as to whether it was a crime against humanity or not. They argued that it was legal. Of course it was. I mean, what do you mean? And I don't even know why you people are kind of silly. Why do you have to codify everything? You codify your own criminality. So let's get this straight. Once again, it's right before your face. Lucky for us, he's talking about the Ghanaians. They're a lawyer, the United States, a lawyer, or representative, or counsel, rather. Now, let me get this straight. You started importing black people. Now, let's get past the point that there were black people already here. You wanted more black people, and even more black people. And you even wanted them people there having baby black peoples. Anyway, and your stock increased, both in terms of ownership of people, stock, and in terms of your stock market, stock. However, it just went on and on and on and on and on and on and on. And at some point, to not be the criminal, or it be seen as an emptiness, a void of law, you have created law to soothe your own guilt, to make it where you don't, I don't understand. I'm not going to get into the social psychobabble this morning, but don't you see the obvious? Why can't anyone see the obvious, sir? You wrote the law. Yes, you, and now you hide behind the law that you yourselves wrote. You don't find that a little bit strange? These people have an entire staff. A staff of attorneys, access to historians, access to records. Exactly what are you saying here? Besides, no one respects your law, not even you. Not even you. But this morning, it's not about you. It's about reparations and how everybody all of a sudden deserves reparations. And they're actually using the word FBA, the Negro, black, the ex-slave. Your word has now been hijacked. At best, it's being diluted. What it means and why. What it means and why it's being diluted. We have reparations demands by the Ghanaians. We have reparations demands by the Somalians. We have a sitting Congress lady saying that reparations are in order for the trauma inflicted by ICE upon the immigrant population. And what I noticed in all of this is self-interest. Self-interest, self-interest, self-interest. No one has assimilated at all. At all. What is a freaking American? I almost cursed. What is an American? What the hell does that mean? I know what it ain't, but I don't know what that is. What and who has assimilated into what? When? I can't help but notice that Latino, or for lack of a better word, and I hate those types of words because they're so vague, they represent their interest. White people represent their own interests. Indians represent their own interests. Muslims represent their own interests as the diaspora in the United States. And it's a lot of different types of Muslims. Oh, okay. The Asians represent themselves in the United States, and their representatives who they send to the floor, I mean, to the House and the Senate, they represent them. All self-interest, 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 self-interest. The only thing that they have in common is, is the open denial of reparations for Black people. It seems to be the glue that binds, and the only glue that binds. Would I be correct, or would I be overstepping my boundaries if I said such a thing? It seems obvious to me. It seems very obvious. There is no assimilation going on here. This is a fight over the pie, with one group of people being locked up out as they basically cut the pie up for themselves. That's what's going on here. That's what's going on here. It's been a game of keep away. Keep away. But once again, I digress. And looking for us, we weren't asking in the first place. We were never asking. I was never asking. We were never asking. Oh, okay. But now as I look at it, we even more are not asking. It seems to me that there's been some type of miscommunication here. Miscommunication. I don't understand. I don't understand. I can go down the list. Yes, in Texas alone, man, I'm not gonna do that because I can lift this off the top of my head at least 4 instances in this state alone where there's very much anti-Black activity at the political levels. Very much anti-Black. There's no other way to slice it. It's right in your face. Anyone else calls it that, well, you're a loon. Okay? You don't want to face the reality because you can afford to and you don't have to. We are, on the other hand, in this forced reality, this reality that's created by a mass of others, we must endure. We must live. So why aren't the Blacks represented? I mean, as per their slice of the pie. Well, actually, folks, by their definition of Blacks and African Americans, I would dare say that they are. They are. We just didn't realize it. They are. This is why, listen, like I said earlier, it came crashing down on me. They all represent their own interest. As simple as that. There's no way out of it. There is no American. There is no American because no one assimilates. That is over. Maybe 50 years ago, maybe 40 years ago. But now no one is assimilating. They all are here to get what they openly said that they're here for. Opportunity, the benefits, jobs, make money. That's what they're here for. This country has to look to them like one big bazaar on sale. It has to look that way to them. And then there's us, who was always here, just like we was always everywhere else. It was us who God scattered like sand across the world. Us. Plymouth, I mean, we didn't land on Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock landed on us. Thank you, Malcolm. Peace be unto you. Plymouth Rock landed on us. And now we have a sea of people telling us and have been telling us, I mean, listen, people, I don't mean to create friction. I'm just looking at the facts here, telling us on our own land how to live. I mean, seriously, from top to bottom. You know what? Let me tell everybody something. Everybody else, whether you want to admit this or not, you have the ability to assimilate, period. If you're not black or you're not melanated, you have the ability to assimilate into white United States of America, white culture, and white sociological benefits and perks and opportunities. This is just a fact. Hey, if I may be so crass, do it look like we can assimilate? Do it look like we can assimilate? Hell, I walk out the door and I'm black. Got your door, someone else may have to guess what you are if you be that purdy with your handsome self. See what I'm saying? Can we just be factual here? You can assimilate. Black people can't. They've done as much assimilating as they possibly can. I have to start to complete my damn sentences. I figure you would do it for me. But this attempt at assimilation into to an America that doesn't assimilate with itself but is tribalistic instead is an impossibility, and it has driven black people damn near mad. Damn near mad. You okay? To a unneeded stress level. Hell, anyway, the point is we can't assimilate. You can. Okay? So when I heard this lady say, a gentle lady, say, because I actually understand her position as her being who she is and her status as an immigrant. What's a fucking immigrant? If there's no fucking Americans, there ain't no immigrants either. Lord. If there ain't no Americans, there ain't no immigrants. Can we be clear? I mean, this would be the next step in the thought process, both legally and politically. Would either be right? I mean, I'm getting confused again because I'm looking at it like it is. Assimilate. Listen, black folk been around white folk 400 plus years, and we still haven't managed. He's helped to drive us mad trying to. I won't go down the list of ways that this has manifested within the black community because it's Sunday morning. And some would find it offensive. So we won't do that. Look around you. Look around you. Anyway, reparations are not something that black people are asking for. It is written. It is written. The fact that it may have to come out of your cold dead hands, notwithstanding. It's all the same to us. You act like you think that you have an option in this, but it is written, my friend. You think that that shit is funny. I always find funny those who would be king make pronouncements. Decrees, declarations. Okay, fine. You don't owe the Ghanaians. I mean, I would have come with a damn stronger argument. I mean, think about your black folk back. Listen, people, think about us. I know you don't like us, but you could have man, you should have consulted me, and we would have worked jointly on a opposition argument here, man. It would have got spicy. Spicy. They would have even the Ghanaians would have been calling me a house nigga. It would have got so damn spicy. But anyway, man. Anyway, lighten up. Lighten up, man. Listen, no one's asking you. We've never said that we were asking you, just like we're not asking you for recognition as us as a nation state. We're not asking you to recognize us as Hebrew. We're not asking you to recognize us as an Israelite. Sir, we're not asking you lots of things. We're not asking you for a damn hate crimes bill. We're not asking you to identify us and to count us separately. See, none of these things are being asked of you at all. At all. However, if you want to make it, I guess, man, you do live in a crass country. I mean, crass. That's going to be my new name. I mean, hard nosed, materialistic, demanding. I mean, won't listen. And each of them demanding their own slice of the pie. And then each of them sit up and watch as the pie slices are not equal. And then they walk away with their unequal pie slices happy. I mean, damn, man. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Anyway, no one is asking you for anything. If it is written, then it will be done. If it is written, then it will be done. Okay? Others make the argument that that you were making the argument against Black Americans. I argue otherwise. No, they're making the argument that it was legal to remove human beings from Africa and take them across the ocean somewhere else and drop them off and making them slaves. But the crime originates in Africa and it ends as far as the transfer point in the Americas. This is what we're speaking of. We going back to them days. Okay, we have to stay focused here. Calm down. And besides, we really don't care what they say. I know they hate the type of language because they have thought of themselves as a dominant since they became Greeks and Romans. It doesn't matter that neither one of those empires truly exist anymore. They went the same way as any other empire. Yet, this dominant attitude will not subsist, even though it's one of unreality and created through force of arms, threats, money, and other nefarious methods and motives. They just don't see it. And we didn't expect them to. That's why we would never go and say, ask them, hell. I mean, why would anyone ask America for anything? There is, I mean, I keep saying I want to see this country as a nation state, but it is a nation state that's clearly under attack. It has to save itself. It is under attack, and the only way I can view this is the people themselves are attacking. And let me define people. The people who are currently here, alive, are currently attacking when I use the word America, I mean its constitution, its laws, its values. Okay? I don't know who the fuck the goddamn Americans is, else I would describe them. I don't know who they are anymore. I'm starting to think that it's us. I am starting to believe, Negroes, that we may be the last Americans left. We may be the last of the Mohicans around here. For real. A lot of things have just just come crashing home. Damn. When when looked at properly. When looked at we are surrounded by hostiles. Us are lighting up. We're surrounded by hostiles, man. And we may indeed be the only Americans, unless someone else stands up and say, hey, Watch your damn mouth. Otherwise, I would think that statement stands. Because I'm currently looking at it as it is. You have no real law. Every law that was pertinent and binding, and I mean, yeah, was pertinent and binding on the people has been transgressed. Every one of them. And all of them by people who are not from here, going back hundreds of years. What in the hell you want me to say? So, in defense of the Constitution and its amendments, that is a definition of American right now. Until we can identify outside of ourselves what and who that is. And to the rest of you, we're not asking you anything. Like I said, from the current perspectives that I'm using, if there is no Americans, then there are no immigrants. If there are no immigrants, then there are no freaking Americans. We are surrounded by hostiles. All of them fighting for the slice of the pie. Boy, and one of us, man, listen to you, if one of them notice us even get anywhere near this pie, I mean, think of it as a pie, and you the outside rat. They all are nibbling around the edges, and you can't get no way in, and they're eyeballing you. Oh man, as they eat. I don't mean, man, you may as well make it fun, man. You may as well make this shit fun. But would I not be on point, man? And I don't mean to insult Americans. I know there's Americans out there of all races and ilk. You know what I'm actually talking about, though, because you have the type of skin and the type of culture and the type of upbringing that can take this type of talk. You know why? You're an American. Everybody else is offended. But you, on the other hand, of all races, ills, backgrounds, since you were cultured here and you rooted here, really rooted when assimilation was still possible. I don't even think it's possible now. But back then, it was. You understand exactly what I'm saying, and they're not offended. I could use terms, bro. I could use all kinds of terms in there, missed if they're in the 50s and fucking 60s of all races, and we be laughing our fucking ass off. Okay? It's the rest of you. It's the rest of you. But anyway, listen, we're not asking. We were never asking. Now, in the beginning, I can understand how it would seem like we were asking. But once everything came on board, then it became something short of a demand. Again, God has already spoken this here, these things. Okay? So it's kind of unimportant as far as a political process as to to the outcomes and arguments that they have with each other. After all, this is America. And looks like on the world stage, there's due to American influence, or even larger of America. I say that because they all play within the set narrative that is devoid of black thought. I mean, I promise you, it is devoid of black thought. Lord, I'm starting to understand so much. Listen, even in the Congressional Black Caucus and the individual state house black caucuses in the United States, over half of them are immigrant, if not all immigrant. I'm telling you what I know, but it all makes sense now. I mean, our plight, Negroes, makes sense now, even more. Damn, I was right. But I had never looked at it from this particular perspective. It makes sense. You make sense. Good luck. My point is, we were never asking. We will separate. We will be independent of you. We will be called what we are as an Israel and Hebrew, and you will write the check at the end of the day, or we'll be taking the gold nugget bars wherever we find it. I mean, you don't get to stop what is written. I largely have avoided the reparations issue because you've been busy, very busy, busy. You have domestic issues. You're having international issues. You're having geopolitical issues, multiple issues. The last thing that you need is a dust up over reparations, a real dust up. Besides, I mean, the dust up is unneeded as of now. Things are moving as they were meant to move. It really doesn't matter at the, at the at the end of the day. What it does matter is that you understand that we were never asking you for anything. It is written, okay? It will pan out. No one stops the word ever. But this idea of what an American is, I mean, I see now why there's such turmoil. At another level, you non-black Americans, you already lost. You don't have a voice either. I can't hear you at all. Your your voice is in, man. I mean, we got strange ass bedfellows here. Your voice, and I hate to say it, your your voice largely is in the Republican Party. Damn, which which makes you dangerous and hated to everybody else for various reasons. For various reasons, but you really don't have a voice. You don't. Think about that. When have they listened to you? Actually, it's you who are suffering more than anyone else next door to black people. Next to black people, I mean, is the Americans that I would think of as the base population. The base population, okay? And this idea that anyone can become an American, I guess that would be true. It seems to me that some are willing to fight for their right to become it. I still haven't ascertained what it is completely, but I've been wrong a, about my idea of the definitions. Is it a people? Is it a people living on a landmass where here's what should get dicey with a shared culture, a shared food, a shared history, a shared native dress, a native food, a native music. And that, by that definition of a country, absolutely not. It's a march. I mean, it is a march podge of different races, different cultures vying for their slice of the pie. I can't put it any other way, and it sounds weird, but it's the truth. No one's assimilating into anything. They all want to retain their languages. They all want to retain their cultural un, un, understandings and underpinnings. They want to retain their understandings. I mean, they want to remain who they are, all the while being somewhere else. And they have, through this process, they have created Bantus lands of what they were called anyway, they have created Bantu's lands. I know you don't know what that word is. It's smaller geographical land masses in which all of that culture live on, where everything around them is them. Bantu's lands. And they're all over America, while at the same time calling themselves Americans, but they've isolated themselves from other, I guess, would be Americans. Well, I don't have a problem with this isolation, but we're not allowed to isolate ourselves from them. I mean, you start to break it down, and it just gets kind of weird. So it would also explain how they culturally would view us, because we're not immigrants. We know that because we have no voice. That's just one reason. They have a voice, a loud one. They have support, not as groups and cultures and races and classes. No, this is a country of immigrant with 100% immigrant interest. Can I say that? I mean, can I say that? With immigrant interest, it can't help be but that. And lost in this is the black voice until now. Until now. So when you start to understand it, brothers, you are the odd man out. You've always been. There's no, it's like I said, I think about 3 years ago, that there was no viable political path to reparations. Currently, on a sociological level, they're even watering down the word. None of them have been beaten. None of them have went through Jim Crow. None of them have went through redlining. None of them have went through the brutality of chattel slavery. None of them have the history of the progress from slavery to sharecropping to Jim Crow to redlining to massacres. None of them have the shared history that we share. They have another history. I don't understand outside. I mean, outside of their aggressive re their own aggressive retention of their own cultures, as to why can't they see what's going on here. I think they do, but it is this aggressive retention of their grasp and their determination to maintain themselves as who and what they are. I don't have a problem with that. In fact, that's probably how it should be. The problem is you're on the same landmass with everyone else that feels the exact same way, hence the hatred, racism, and the fighting on the street. I've never seen this strange bedfellows you make. I'm telling you now, you make strange bedfellows, but there you are. There you are. And what else is strange is how all of you fall right into the social order, like you know exactly where you fit. And the only way you can know this is at its base, first and foremost. Can I be frank? You don't want me to. You don't want to. You don't want me to be frank. Well, then I'm gonna be Frank, Elizabeth, and Susie. Okay. The fact of the matter is, the only glue that binds in this country is our blackness and our instant inability to to assimilate into whatever America is. I'm still trying to figure it out, and I'm a smart guy. I mean, I am a smart guy. I know this kind of stuff. At least I thought I did. But in its current, well, in its current shape, the definitions have to be remade. It's sort of like when the cell phone generation came, the sociology books had held true throughout the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. Right around the 80s, they had those old books no longer apply. Every understanding of human nature and sociological behavior doesn't fit. It doesn't fit by by the old books. 3 out of 5 Americans are sociopaths. I shit you not. 3 out of 5, or 3 out of 6, I don't want to embellish, are sociopaths. But then I live in an damn culture that 50% are on some kind of psychoactive or psychotropic drug. Another 30%, damn, that's a lot of people. And and you ain't even gotten to the street level drugs. Okay? This is the type of country it is. And you haven't even gotten to the alcoholics that ought to be on psychoactive and psychotropic drugs. And they are sometimes in high seats of power. You haven't gotten even to those and their concepts of life and how they view others. This is indeed a simply complex ass place that I would rather not have nothing further to do with. I would just as soon pack my people up, come to them one day and say, hey, we got the money. How much? Don't worry about it. This enough. And this nigga here is already making plans. Nigga, let's go. He asking how much. Nigga, be quiet. Head low, quiet. Let's go. Okay? If I could do that. Because obviously there is no real way out of this morass that is America. There's no way out. It's falling and it's failing on multiple levels. On multiple levels. And in the midst of Rome burning, they're having art. Oh man, I mean it's on fire. It's like living in an episode of General Hospital. All my children, or As the World Turns. That's a good one. It's like living in a forever episode of As the World Turns. My mama them used to call them stories. I used to call them, what you doing? Watching the stories? What? Anyway, As the World Turns. Goodness, it ain't even real anymore. It's not even real because it don't have to be. When was the last time you've been hungry? When was the last time you made anyone smile? When was the last time you recognized the cool breeze on your motherfucking skin? When was the last time you did anything worthy of anything that was outside of self? And that's most of you. I know the new America. I guess we're not Americans, but that's a good thing. That's a good thing. See, I don't want to use numbers and raw data and facts. This is more of a philosophical understanding of what I'm looking at here. And then I looked at reparations and their possibilities, and I started thinking about. So they said that most Americans, whatever that is, we have to nail down what that is first. First was to nail that down. It needs a new definition, because obviously people who are willing to shoot other people and protest and march up and down the streets and have their representatives scream for their right to be here, that is uniquely American. Because anywhere else, they would be getting a hat brought to them by now. The 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 paramilitaries, the thought police, the real police, and the military wouldn't be out there putting it on their ass. And they know this. This is the only place they could last this long doing this much protesting in this type of fashion. In their own countries, this would have been over months ago. Months ago, with lots of dead people. With lots of dead people. They don't do it there for that reason. They're going to come and kill you. You may get away with it 3 days, 4 days, but once it starts to getting international recognition, you walking dead. And then for another 6 months, they going through the population looking for the people who are out there in the marches. I'm telling you, and they know this, but they can do that here. It is a right. It is a right afforded to every American, if you know what I mean. So until we pin down what an American is, now, a lot of politicians is already pissed at me. MAGA is already mad because they understand what the fuck I'm saying. What the hell is that? While they busy trying to deny us every opportunity, every dime, they lost their country. If you've lost your country, MAGA, you've lost your country. I mean, and that's bad terminology. That's bad terminology because again, I don't know what that means. This is a situation that's been nurtured with your hand for all kinds of reasons that are even harmful unto you as individuals and to the country. Yet here we are, and this had nothing to do with us, God, or black people. It didn't. This is all you, you. And who are you? America. An immigrant population with immigrant interest. Would that be fair? An immigrant population at its core defending individual as per culture and race interest with melanated people outside of the immigrant population locked out, meaning foundational black Americans or the Negro has been locked out, also known as Hebrew, also known as Israel, has been locked out. And they say this loudly, and it is evident on the ground, locked out, and they seek to maintain this social order in the face of the reality. And the reality is God is here, and I'm here. And we say it what we say it. So they set themselves up for war against the Almighty and his children. You set yourselves up for war against the Almighty and God's children. And the 20% of right-thinking people. At any rate, enjoy the rest of your day. Just had to get that one out there. This whole idea of what America is and reparations and how now everyone is deserving of reparations without having to go through any of the cruelty. And it's so ironic because as we speak, they are the beneficiaries of the gentrification. As we speak, let's be clear. Americans are the beneficiaries of gentrification, which harms black people, has and will for decades. They won't recover from this. They won't recover from this, which is why we're going to do it our way. When you set things in root, and this has been set in root, and on the way to, anyway, they have their agenda. Each culture and representatives of the culture have their representatives. They each have a voice, and they're each eating off the pie, except for the Negro. At large, I'm not going to break the Negro down. That's unnecessary. He's already been broken down. He just needs to come to grips with the reality. But I can easily see that after decades and decades and centuries of oppression, that this is more easier said than done. Some things can be ingrained, and the only way out to and the only way to deal with something ingrained is head on. It must be outright denied and denied forever. There is no other way. There's no incremental process of slowly taking away a little bit and then a little bit more and then a little bit less and then a little bit more. No, it doesn't work that way. That acts as a digression, actually. And it would do the same in a situation like this. Once you stand back and you look at it, it just is what it is. Which I have to say would be natural and normal in America, quite honestly. once we look at it from this particular philosophical position. What does that mean? American immigrant and in a country of immigrants. Well, plus the ones who, well, they don't think of themselves as immigrants. But anyway, this is where it is. That's just the reality. But the rest of the population and those in power should understand one thing. We ain't asking. We're not asking at all, and we never were. You know, there's an old saying, war is not always about bullets and bombs and the taking of life. That may become necessary. Hopefully not, but it's not about that. War is about bending your opponent to your way of seeing things. I am Source. I am 7. I am 1.